I'm ready.
Welcome back to the second half. For those of you who are still in the American time zones, it is still August 6th here today, which means it is the beginning of Hiroshima Nagasaki Remembrance. If you have not taken the time to learn about this particular Remembrance Day, it's actually 3 days, maybe spend some time to look about it. There's a lot of propaganda about that event in the United States and in Japan. Most of it in both of those countries tends to be totally and completely wrong. So just spend some time on the internet, talking, maybe listening to experts. Wikipedia, maybe? I don't know. We have a teacher here. What do you think about Wikipedia, Red? Good place to start knowledge, bad place to end it?
Yeah, Wikipedia is a great resource. Most of my teacher brethren would not like that, but I think going to Wikipedia as a diving board for further information is a great first step. If you've ever spent any kind of time on Wikipedia, you've seen that there are footnotes for every Wikipedia article that will take you to actual sources. So I encourage you that if you're going to start a legitimate research project, for whether it be academic or for your own interest, take your time to click on some of those links. Go to some of the places that generated this information for this Wikipedia article, because that's just abbreviated information by a person who made subjective judgment calls as to what was important enough to go into that article. So, definitely start at that layer and go deeper if you want to, really know about something and be able to speak on it on any level of authority. Really, I would say.
Just don't cite Wikipedia in papers.
Don't do that. Yeah. Teachers won't let you do that. But like I said, it's good diving board into the deeper waters of information. If you are looking at anything, obviously we're talking about a historical subject.
Correct.
So history is always, a treacherous tightrope to walk whenever you do research on that, of course.
Recently talked to a military historian and learned a lot about military historian points of views.
Yep. But of course, if you're looking at anything quantitative or scientific, please seek out some good, peer-reviewed sources to actually read what the experts say. That can be daunting, and it can be mired in sort of academic jargon, which can be challenging a lot of times, and it can dissuade people from finding more about things that they're interested in. So, don't get discouraged. If you're really interested in scientific topics, put some faith in yourself that you're smart enough to figure it out, and read some of those peer-reviewed academic papers. I think you'll find that it can be a challenge, but it's very rewarding on the back end. There, that's my teacher.
Hiroshima Nagasaki Remembrance Day. Take a look at it.
It's important stuff.
You might learn something you didn't know.
Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Just to piggyback on what you're saying. History is full of events that we can learn things from, but there's only, there's a limited amount of global repercussion events that changed the direction of human history and the events that led to them. So anything like that is, well worth your time. Whether or not you chose to advance your education beyond, primary school or whatever, knowing about those kind of events that a lot of times you don't get the opportunity to learn in depth unless you really seek it out, whether it be through college or your own personal interests. So if it's something you don't know anything about, I would put that in the upper third of just stuff to know about the human race and the world, and some of the tragedies that have occurred that have kind of shaped the world around us even to this day.
In other news, John Wick 5 has been announced. I thought there were only 3 of them. Haven't seen any of them yet. I just thought it was weird that a 4th movie showed up somewhere.
They're making 4 and 5 together.
I see.
I've seen like 2/3 of one of them. I'm not even. I guess it might have been the third one. I don't get the hype. I like Keanu Reeves as much as the next guy. I love his YouTube videos of him running 3-gun competitions, but I didn't.
I'll tell you, I like the classics, and I'm talking
I wasn't like,
pre-Matrix.
this movie is amazing. If I wanted to watch a movie like that, I would just watch. What's it called? Now I can't think of it. Doesn't matter because I can't think.
Are you thinking about the Bourne series?
Nope. My dude, that's a great series though. I'll look it up. I'll blurt it out later out of context and no one will remember or care what I'm talking
Taken.
about. No, it's not an American-made film.
Meanwhile, Keanu Reeves movies, Hardball from 2001.
That is classic.
Got me into Biggie Smalls music. I would not have discovered Biggie Smalls otherwise without Hardball, so that's what I think of when I think of Keanu Reeves, not any of the other works of art that he has produced. I really just go back to that movie where
I think of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey personally.
Yeah, exactly. That's where some people would go to, or The Matrix. For me, it's always going to be Hardball. It's like the first Keanu Reeves movie I saw.
The Raid was the movie I was thinking of. The Raid.
I don't know what that
if
is.
you've never seen The Raid,
It's an Indonesian series
movie.
of films.
Interesting.
Excellent movie. I would put it S tier action movie. The Raid, absolutely phenomenal. Like you don't go for the plot, but the choreography, the action, the cinematography in it, fantastic, excellent series.
Bring us back in. Butch McGurk, you have received orders summoning you to the Crow's Black jump ship.
So many summons.
Yes, the Horus, at the hands of your new commanding officer.
Oh, okay.
General Akira Oda.
I show up in uniform and stuff. Like I clean myself up. I also unplug my headphones again because that's a fun trick that I like to do.
All right, let's all talk about Rad. Say one thing we like about Raddosaurus right now. James, what do you like about Rad?
Terrible things, but I'm back now. Okay.
Out of context, you can't provide any context clues. Just say one thing.
So I was just finished eating.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know. Insight.
Pondo? No context.
What is it?
You weren't paying attention earlier? Don't worry
I
about
don't
it.
understand what's happening.
Yeah, good. Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Cotton? Let's go over to you. You paid attention.
Hold on, I updated Pondo.
Yes, but I want your opinion first because you were paying attention.
Humor.
I see. Pondo? The audience knows, but Rad doesn't know what's happening now.
You had some kind of bit for when I unplugged my headphones again because you knew it was going to happen. You son of a bitch.
Me and him are like-minded in the most weird way possible.
I understand. When you enter the office of Akira
You're all
Oda,
describing Butch McGurk, of course.
he has laid out like 2 drinking bulbs of a clear liquid that is obviously not water. And there's a bottle of sake on his desk that's
I thought you were going to
capped.
say he's laid out 2 Tontos and you could pick which one you're going to end your life with for missing.
He does have one sword. Not the 2 swords of a Mechwarrior or a samurai graduate of one of the schools. He just has one sword, but it is secured in like a zero gravity version of, I forget what the sword holders are
And
called,
I'm
but
sorry,
you know what I'm
I've
talking
forgotten.
about.
Is he Draconis Combine?
Yes,
or is
he's
he
a
Korean?
former Draconis Combine admiral
Okay.
who is
Got
now
it.
the commanding general of the unit.
Butch McGurk has a great deal of respect for aerospace personnel, for naval personnel.
Yeah, because they always die.
No, if you remember early on in his career, he was interested in becoming an aerospace pilot.
So when you enter, he's wearing something akin to like a wife beater and a bathrobe. And so when you show up in full uniform, he just gestures for you to come in and he says, Chief?
Sir? He's definitely not wearing like class A's, to be clear, right?
Yeah.
Like he's wearing
I understand. You're wearing
the
like
daily
fatigues.
uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that raid, Inigo. Indigo Chameleon, another D&D streamer. Yes, Butch did miss his calling as a lamb pilot. It would be amazing to see him retire in a lamb Omni-Mech, just like Lieutenant Colors.
Retire.
I mean, trust me, you'll fly one time and you'll be gone.
Welcome to your inaugural retirement flight.
See You Again from the Fast and the Furious soundtrack starts playing. The general just gestures for you to sit down and have a drink with him, and he says, I apologize. I did not realize you would show up in full uniform. Chief, I would hope that meetings between us, at least upon this voyage, would be more informal.
As soon as after he says that, Butch will accept the drink that I'm sure is probably sitting in front of him, right?
Yeah.
And kind of make himself
kind
more
of
comfortable
warm
in the
too.
chair.
It's like warmer than ambient air temperature. Like someone has warmed it up to like 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
I can appreciate that sentiment, sir. You know, it's not unclear to me that I probably didn't make a great first impression with you, but you seem to be a man of experience, and I don't think that missing a change of command ceremony has probably put you off to me in its entirety, so I appreciate you meeting with me.
I appreciate you showing up. There are several members of this unit for whom punctuality and discipline leave much to be desired.
I can certainly agree with that, and I don't take offense that you lump me in with that personnel.
You are not among them, from what I can tell. Your record, while colorful, is closer to spotless than others. The Countess informed me of your unique disposition.
That's the nicest way anyone's ever described me to myself before.
Yes. My understanding is that you may have had some disagreements with her in the past.
You know, just as one does. Nothing out of the ordinary for a military unit.
I would hope that we, between ourselves, would have such disagreements that we would grow close enough for such wisdom to pass from you to me. I have great respect for the enlisted men under my command.
Sir, you can rest at ease knowing that if I have concerns or differing views when it comes to the strategic application of this company, you'll hear it directly from me without hesitation. And you should know also that despite my feelings and what I think, I will carry out your orders as if they are my own, because without that level of good order and trust in command, the unit can't survive.
How draconian of you.
You take that as you like. That's just what a military unit, what a good soldier does. Carries out orders.
So he stares at you with a blank look for a fairly long time, and he says, there is a series of meetings coming up to which you have personally been invited to.
What's the nature of these meetings, sir?
The command staff of various units believe that the fleet is not meshing well together and would like the senior-most non-enlisted officers and several junior personnel to attend a sort of in their own separate ways. We would not send you to the George squad, of course. You and the fellow NCOs will sit down and hash out any problems between your unit's enlisted personnel.
I'm more than willing to participate in such a summit.
I understand that we will not be keeping all of you in one location at any one time, but that over the next few weeks you will get to know all of these men and women. The pretense will be a card game.
Interesting.
Are you any good at cards?
I've been known to know when to hold them.
I see, Chief.
Know when to fold them.
I would hope that you would serve Crow's Black well at these games.
Well, to be frank, sir, if you really want NCOs to sit down and hash it out, you don't have to put put a mask over it. You can just have us sit down and hash it out.
I don't disagree with such a straightforward proposition, but it is not solely my decision.
I can appreciate that.
I am not the commander of this fleet, and there is some measure of democracy in the running of a Star League military unit that is unusual.
Task force can always be more political than we're used to.
This particular mission is exceedingly political.
Well, I've specifically avoided promotions into areas that require me to have those sorts of responsibilities. But if you want me to sit at a table and play games with other soldiers and get along and play nice, that's something I can do.
I'm not looking for you to play nice. I am, however, looking for you to win. If you must play cards, I intend for Crow's Black to be pulling in the largest pot.
How draconian of you.
Thank you. Seek victory in all things. That said, whatever problems need to be hashed out at the enlisted men level, I would appreciate if it was handled quietly between your group.
Can I ask what's the imperative here that we get along, to be frank? I mean, from what I understand, when we get down to the operational execution of this mission, there's not a high level of coordination in between units.
There is an expectation that will change by the time we arrive at Huntress. In the next 6 to 7 months, this fleet needs to be one working military unit.
Understood.
We are not sure what we will face when we reach the ground. If Task Force Serpent will be there, if Huntress will be reinforced, if we are walking into a trap, or if everything will be fine at the end of this. But once we have arrived at the end of our journey, we will be in clan space. And I suspect that with 2 large fleets, the Prince would be remiss if he did not address our concerns to the clans directly in a invasion capacity.
So you're preparing to command a subordinate unit in conjunction with others.
We are the subordinate unit.
Right.
What we need to do is work with other units, and unfortunately, our particular unit is the only mercenary force attached to this fleet. Several of its members have colorful histories and personalities which have made them stand out among the rumor mill. In particular, Major Vincent Gray is despised by many.
Why is that?
My understanding is that he was involved in an incident with a certain mercenary commander of great renown, to which many theories have been put forward. He himself pleaded guilty and then contested it in court. The footage has been looked over and confused many. Conspiracies abound. More importantly, I understand there's some young man running around sleeping with women or something like that. I've tried to keep it off my desk and allowed others to handle it, but this Mr. Blake Torch is a problem within the fleet. Discipline in the general area of him has been following.
Out of
Fallen.
character, who's our first sergeant?
You mean the
Like for Grows Black, who's the senior enlisted?
you are.
I am. Okay.
Yes.
So I serve that capacity specifically.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, it's like you said, sir. I mean, we're a mercenary unit, and to be honest with you, if we didn't have a Vincent Gray or a Torch or whatever his name is, I don't think people would feel much differently about us than they do right now.
I don't disagree.
So
When I was a younger man, I had been taught many things about mercenaries I've come to find in the last few years to be untrue.
well, that depends on the mercenary unit, I suppose.
I
But
suppose. Chief, it doesn't matter the nature of these complaints. What matters is that they are dealt with. Order and discipline in this fleet is tenuous at best and is literally all we have holding us together.
well, I certainly agree. But I'm not sure what the best road is to achieve the desired effect here. If we're going to be the black sheep, I don't know that the best course of action is to not be the black sheep or to be a lovable black sheep.
That's why I have you.
Well, I'm on it, sir.
Figure it out. And if you're looking for a black sheep, might I suggest the Capellians?
I'm tracking.
It's not an order, Chief. You
Doesn't have
solve
to
this
be.
problem in the way that satisfies the goals of this unit and this fleet.
It doesn't have to be an order, sir. You're my CEO now, and your problems are my problems.
You know this unit better than I do. You have certainly more experience with Mechwarriors than I do.
Trust in me. I got this.
Very well. Have a good day, Chief.
You too, sir. And I just take like the glass with whatever drink. I just walk out with it. I just take it with me.
So it's not a glass technically. It's like a plastic squeeze bottle.
Like a squirt bottle?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Right, because you wouldn't want alcohol floating in zero G
Right.
everywhere.
No,
right?
but I feel like they're probably really nice ones, right?
Yeah,
'Cause,
it's like a
this is
sippy
thing.
cup.
This is a thing. So everywhere in the galaxy or whatever, there are naval commanders with like really ornate, like classy sippy cups. Like,
Capri Suns.
yeah. Right. The difference between the 99-cent bottle at Walgreens and like the $8 bottle at, Babies R Us.
Wow, that
Sorry.
is such an evocative image.
You said we were the only mercenary company. Are the Northern Highlanders still part of this group, or are they
They
separate?
are not part of this group. They were
Okay.
left behind in the inner sphere. So just to be clear, this was told to all members of the Task Force Bulldog that were continuing on. High-profile mercenary units like the high-profile units like the Kells Hounds and Wolf in Exile and Northwind Highlanders were left behind because if they were absent, people would be going, well, where the hell are they?
All right, so I put out. I'm sure I can get on a computer and put together a contact list of all like the first sergeants of the units that are attached here, right?
Correct.
Is this game already being organized, or am I expected to organize it?
Yeah, so like each commander is currently having that discussion with their NCO as
Okay.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a thing for you personally. Like the Fleet Command was like, hey guys, get your NCOs together and sort this shit out immediately.
So I'm gonna initiate a chain of communication between all the first sergeants. How many of them are there? How many units are we talking about here?
12.
12. Okay. So I'm just going to initiate it. I'm just going to say touch and base. I'm sure you've heard the same things I've heard. If you have any more issues reported to you from our personnel, please contact me direct. Looking forward to meeting with you, Warrant Officer McGurk. That's
All
it.
right.
Just real simple.
So within 2 minutes, you get a reply. The first half is in Chinese, and then it repeats again in English. The English part reads something like, Senior non-commissioned officer of the Capellian contingent here. Obviously, with the First Lord being a Capellian, we should have primacy at this game, and thus we will be the dealer at the first game. And at any game at which we arrive on the starting hand. We appreciate your forthrightness, McGurk, but all future communication should run through this office.
Do I know whether or not they have the authority to make this claim? I'm assuming they don't.
No one does.
Okay.
None of you have equivalent rank with any other units, basically.
Right. Yeah.
But they're playing our liege lord is the first lord, so we're better than all of you.
Right. I grab that and I drag it straight to the trash, and I feel like I have a reasonable assurance that like at least 80% of the other first sergeants are doing the same thing.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I just don't even humor that at all. And then like, later that day,
more and more people start checking in over the day.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Maybe like the next day, or like a reasonable amount of time later. Some people might not check in at all. That's fine. I don't think that's the expectation. But I'll put out basically, a bracket. Right. Like, okay, these are the nights, and it's all recommendation. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. I'm like, submitted for your approval, based on your schedule, please send your availabilities. This is a proposed schedule, and it has rotating dealers basically to where each unit will be a dealer for a different night. And it'll start with the Cretans to like pacify them. But that's so like, it gives everybody kind of equal shot, and just has like a schedule basically that he puts out to play. And then it has, a straw poll as to like what game they will, or like, whatever, dealer's choice for what game they play that night, fill in options that you want to be considered or whatever, right? Like all that deal. So I'll do the legwork of organizing it and just let everybody chime in with what they want to do, and have it be kind of by committee.
Yeah, so it definitely takes several iterations.
I would think it'd take at least a week or two to get it like.
But at some point in the near future, there will be such a meeting. And almost immediately, concerns are being shared over this message group about small things. The incidents with Blake.
Okay.
Blake Oakwood, aka Torch, like the units that are involved in beating the shit out of him, the NCOs, just like we express our apologies. Like we're dealing with the offenders on our end. We would prefer it if like he didn't interact with our personnel on our jump ships or drop ships.
And I write orders for him and send them to him. And they require like a valid. Yeah, but I send them really specific ones.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, like keep to the unit. I'm putting, you do not interact with the following units. If any more violations appear on my desk, you will be confined to quarters for the remainder of the trip, kind of situation, right? Like I lay it out, straight up counseling statement. Here's what you've done. Here's what we're tracking. This is what you're allowed to do from here on out. This is who you're allowed to speak with from here on out. If I receive any more complaints, whether they be physical confrontations, whether they be promiscuity, whether they be violations of general orders or whatever, right? Like your ass is grass. You'll be confined to quarters, and further disciplinary action will be considered up to and including demotion and loss of pay.
He writes you a picture perfect reply.
It's not so he can. There's a portion on this that he can have a response, but it's expected to come back with a signature response or not.
Correct. It's an acknowledgement email.
Gotcha.
But attached to it is a loadout for your Centurion with ER small lasers.
Yeah, let's throw that in the trash. So yeah. And I let, the same thing those other guys told me, I tell them, right? Like I've addressed it with my personnel, Their behavior does not represent us. Apologies for problems that they've caused. That's done. We're done with that. We can move forward. Please let me know if you have any other problems.
You start developing contacts within that group of people who are interested in having you commentate over recorded Solaris mech fights.
Okay. What, like for their unit? Like they're having a movie night and they want me to come over and just for their unit commentate on them?
Yes, because you are a former Solaris gladiator.
Yeah. I'll put up
the masked El Guapo.
Obviously Tuesdays are out because I'm engaged on Tuesdays.
Taco Tuesday, yeah.
Right. I'll basically put up a board where they can have signups, right? They can sign up for nights for me to come and do that. I don't have any problem with that. The understanding is, I do that for them and
they scratch your back.
Not necessarily, but it's understood that, upon review, it should be stated that Crow's Black is fulfilling its mission right here as part of this trip.
Yeah. You're checking off all the boxes.
Yeah. So I'm legitimately attempting to do what the commanders asked me to do, smooth things over, at least at the enlisted level. I can't speak at the commissioned level, right? That's not my responsibility. I can't do anything about that. But I'll take some of our more personable personnel with me occasionally, just to go and sit in or make friends or whatever,
Can you name 2 personable people in the unit? Who do you bring with you?
Medusa, right? Like she wants to find things to do.
Sure.
So I feel like she's probably my sidekick for a lot of this if she's game for it. If Selena wants to do stuff, she can, but I take her only when I feel like it's a good idea because I know she's not that good with people. So like I factor that into the equation. So if it's going to be like an activity that she is like interested in or involved in, that's not going to require a lot of like direct conversation, I invite her to come. If it's going to be like hey, we're going to fucking sit at a table and talk to people, I do not invite her to come. I don't ever probably invite Bandito to stuff because I feel like I probably talk positively about him if anybody ever brings him up, right? Like to McGurk, Bandito is a very, not picturesque, but he's a very typical soldier story, right? Like he has trauma. We've all been through that. We should all be able to relate to that on a level as soldiers with one another. And yet, despite that trauma, he's still serving in a capacity where he can do good, right? Like I don't lay it on too thick because I know people already have their predisposed opinions, but I drop little crackers in there. Like, look, he's just like anybody else, right? He's lost people. He's done things that he's not proud of. He's done things that he is proud of that he knows he probably shouldn't be. Just every single one of us has gone through this. We all have battlefield trauma. We all have our own personal skeletons and demons that we deal with every day. For you guys to pile in on him just because his demons involve somebody famous is kind of shitty, frankly. So that's kind of, but I don't bring him because I want him kind of out of sight, out of mind. I want to build a picture of him instead of actually having him in front of people, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Right? Like I played him in a movie. I feel like I can portray the positive, likable Bandito that I want other people to think exists, whether or not it's true or not, if that makes sense.
So at some point, you end up opposite the Capellian contingent with Hauser and Lockwood. So they're called the Red Lancers. They have a pretty interesting battle strategy, which Vincent Gray has already seen. Each of their company commanders belongs to a different internal Capellian faction, so they don't work super great together, but the unit is basically split between heavy mech companies and light mech jump jet capable companies. And so what they do is they get the enemy to engage the anvil while the hammer jumps behind them. And it seems to work really well against the clans who are dumb and stupid, and not so great against literally anyone else who's like, well, we've seen this before. It's gonna be real easy picking off those jump jet mechs.
Right. It's kind of level 1, like tactical battlefield operation situation.
Their NCO is, how should I put this? So they seem like they're a lot more competent than the rest of their unit is. Their rank is Force Leader, and she essentially seems like she has to deal with all of the other NCOs of the different political factions, but she's kind of like a no bullshitter. But unfortunately, because her unit is so Capellian heritage-ish, she had to send that ridiculous email to you.
Right. I get it.
Yeah, so when you sit down and meet her, she's brought 2 aides with her as well, and sits down opposite you to play a game of cards and just says, Butch McGurk, heard a lot about you.
Only the best things, I'm sure.
Oh, you've seen a lot of war, especially against the clans.
Yeah. So I've been told, but I'm sure you're no stranger to combat there. What's her title? Is she first sergeant?
Force Leader is the name.
Force Leader?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I address her as then.
Are ranks necessary here?
I don't know that I caught your name.
Sang?
Song.
Yep.
Well, then nope. They're not necessary anymore now that I know what to call you.
So she kind of nods to Selena and Carolyn and says, while we're getting started here, who do you think the best Mechwarrior in the Inner Sphere is? As she's like shuffling the deck and then handing it to Butch McGurk.
Butch McGurk would say, so like as a player, I don't know, but he would say somebody from Solaris, right? Like, and maybe not necessarily whoever the number 1 Solaris person is, but based on how he fights and what he's seen from his own personal experience, he would probably name a gladiatorial.
I can tell you who the current champion of Solaris is. It's Kai Allard Liao, and he's actually in this fleet.
Is that the Yinla Wang guy?
Yeah, so he's the son of Justin Allard, who piloted Yinla Wang. He inherited it and then upgraded it to be like a 30-50 capable mech.
And what would I know how Cretans would feel about him?
Well, they're Capellians, and
Capellians, sorry.
So the thing is, they actually super hate him. It's very complicated. His mother is the older sister of the previous chancellor, so he is technically heir to the celestial throne of the Capellian Confederation, but because she and her province defected to the Davians, he's essentially considered to be like the Devil Prince.
I think when she asked that question, Butch McGurk's first instinct is to name who he thinks she would name. But if that's not clear and he wouldn't know that, then he would have some bullshit answer.
So, I mean, the answer being Kai is what most of the Inner Sphere would say if they didn't have a particular favorite. There are several other names that might come up. Victor Davian might come up if you're a Davian bootlicker. He's not particularly good at piloting mechs because he's left a ton of them in his wake. Hohiro Kurita is considered to be quite good. Several members of top mercenary forces like the Northwind Highlanders, Kellhounds, Felon, Kell, Morgan, Wolf, his name's really long now, is considered to be one of the finest Inner Sphere warriors.
Okay.
Sun Tzu Liao, the First Lord, is technically a Mechwarrior.
But she's not a bullshitter though, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go with what the obvious.
Is Natasha Karinsky currently known to the Inner Sphere yet? At the moment, at this point?
Yeah. Is she dead now?
She gets killed by Joanna.
Yeah, I thought she died during the Wolf split. All right, let's look at.
I'm just gonna say, you know,
she's been dead for 2 years. So
Okay, nice.
if any mech warrior steps into their mech without believing they're the best mech warrior on the planet, then I feel like they don't have any business in that cockpit. So if you can't answer yourself, then I feel like you need to reconsider your career.
all right, so she
And
smiles.
he says that with kind of like false bravado, right?
Right,
Like
right.
he's obviously wants to name himself, but he's, you know, it's also kind of a joke. He's obviously using humor to evade this question, right?
Understood, and that's probably the way you should have gone with it.
Yeah.
Natasha Kerensky's biography reads, immensely successful and famous, she's widely regarded as the best and deadliest mech warrior of the 31st century, with the possible exception of Kai Allard Leo. So pretty much answers all our questions here. It's Kai is the #1 mech warrior.
I think that Kai leaves Solaris in 3057 or something. I think it's not when Goddard is the current champion.
You know more about that than me, but yes, he's generally, when people win, they dedicate their victories to Kai. He's now the commander.
He leaves before the FedCom Civil War for sure.
Well, yes, he's left now because he's a member of this fleet. He's part of the first St. Ives Lancers because he wanted to fight in Bulldog. Yeah, so you diffuse a potential political landmine, and she seems to chuckle at it as if you had answered anything but this, it probably would have been very bad. You get the idea that she's kind of taking a measure of you by your answer.
I figure.
Is there anything else you guys want to do at this meeting with the Red Lancers?
Is it just us and them at this card game?
It's
just
her
the
and two of her aides.
Okay.
They're also force leaders, but they appear to be less senior than her, so probably from the other companies.
I don't think there's anything specific I want to accomplish other than just being generally charming, trying to keep shop talk a little bit to a minimum, you know, maybe asking not your personal questions that aren't invasive, you know, like kind of casual, get to know you. Let's talk about your military experience, or, you know, who you've served under, see if there's any common threads. I'm sure there probably isn't in this case, but this is probably his standard strategy for all of these games, right?
Check your challenge coins, see who you've met.
Yeah. You know,
you have no overlaps. She, interestingly enough, has the coin for the First Lord.
Wow. Okay.
At some point,
That's impressive.
She turns to you, Selena, and says, Ambassador, I appreciate you for gracing us with your presence.
Thanks for letting me come.
She's been well coached by Butch. Like, we're not gonna.
I think that was mainly to Butch.
You are welcome.
I hate to say, I just got curious. What is everyone's charisma in this group?
I actually have a 3.
Butch's is not low. It's at least a 3 off the top of my head.
Let me check for you.
I was just curious.
Looks like yours is a 4.
4. Okay. I recently upped it, I believe.
I have a 2.
All right, this is a 3. All right.
Butch is a charming old man.
So she looks over you, Selena, and she says, Ambassador, there is some understanding that there might be a union between our nations soon. I understand that the First Lord and Danai Centrella are an item.
They are?
She just kind of stares at you like, how do you not know this? I see you're not as versed on interstellar romances and scuttlebutt.
I haven't been able to check in on my country's gossip for a while.
Oh, I was under the standing.
Busy.
The local rumor mill says that you are a undercover operative sent to fight the clans and gain information about their technology for the Canopians. And as she says that, she's chuckling, but she's also giving you an eagle eye stare, like, I'm gonna read you. Like, do you react?
She goes, any conversations I've had with Denai were strictly business.
She goes,
So eat it.
I have a cousin who's a Mandarin.
That's nice.
Back home. You can tell that this is about to get awkward.
I feel like there was a joke somewhere where Butch was going to be like, I have a black friend, but it just like, he's like, nope.
No, it's not that. She says, right now, marriages between the realms are very popular. If you were looking to start dating after we return home, I could facilitate such a relationship. Just a meeting, of course, with no expectations.
I appreciate the offer, but I think I can find a suitable partner for myself.
I would never imply otherwise, Ambassador. I am sure that men are lining up at your door.
Yep.
She's giving you a look, and as are her two aides. You've seen this look before. She wants to ask about the ears, but she knows it would be incredibly rude to do so. But she can't stop staring at them. It's like a magnet.
You've seen this so many times.
Yes.
I want to make them light up and then ignore that she's staring at
them. At some point, one of the aides is just like, Sergeant Hauser, I understand that you are the daughter of a knight, a noble.
Indeed. Although the family is bereft of our family mech now, so our service to the Baron is rather how do you put it? I'm trying to think of the word. Demonstrative only. We're not truly carrying out our tasks right now. It's for show until we're able to secure a new mech.
Didn't we recover the Victor?
No, you blew it up.
Yeah.
No, I legged it. I remember that much.
I believe
think I
you blew it up with
up.
the rest of the supply depot.
Okay.
So she says,
symbolic. That was what I was looking for. Symbolic. There you go.
Well, symbolic service is almost as important as service, especially in a place as spiritual as the Capellian Confederation.
I confess I've never traveled to your region of the Innisphere previously, even in my service. That was not anywhere that my particular RCT traveled.
So they are speaking rapidly to each other in Mandarin Chinese, and you can tell via body language that like one of them wants to swat at the others and be like, no. And the first one continues speaking to you and goes, the Capellian Confederation is a fine place to travel. Perhaps if you were looking to travel after the war, I could arrange for you to visit my homeworld.
Oh, yeah.
So just out of character, Arthur. Sorry, what is the national religion of the Capellian? Is it Buddhism or is it?
So the Capellian Confederation follows Confucian wisdom. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it has a religion in particular, but they worship the not the First Lord, the Chancellor of the Confederation, as a sort of god, king, or queen, as it was. Okay. Buddhism is popular, as is a sort of knockoff of Buddhism called Thugi cultism, is also becoming very popular throughout the Confederation.
All right, so I mean, I'll say I've read a couple of translations of a couple of spiritual texts from the Confederation, and I'll name them. You know. It's
speak Chinese.
Okay, well, what they're doing is they're having an argument among themselves as to whether or not they can get like, apparently when they came to this meeting, their plan was to like marry off this Mandarin cousin, right? to a noble,
anyone.
right? And then two women who are technically nobles show up, and they're like, "Oh shit, let's do it." But one of them is like, "This is not appropriate," and the first one is like, "No, shut up. He's my cousin. I gotta do something for this kid."
Can I respond in Chinese?
Oh yeah, you can do that.
And say something like, "Is your cousin really this hard to marry off?"
All right.
The calm, cool McGurk has the first bead of sweat appear on his forehead and run down his
I'm losing control of the situation.
The first Force Leader song says,
McGurk's like, all in!
in highly formal Mandarin Chinese, says, "Honored Ambassador, I would be remiss if I did not inform you that perhaps your command of our language has allowed you to misunderstand the situation. And I apologize for my associates for speaking it to you in front of you when obviously we should all be using English. However, again, I must say that you have perhaps misrepresented the situation. And in the light of friendship, we should move on."
It's fair enough.
All right, then she switches back to English and says, "I call." After she goes all into it.
I feel like Butch probably already didn't have a lot of money. So he's very charismatic, but he's not incredibly intelligent.
You'd be surprised. You said that he hasn't been spending his paycheck, so he has quite a bit of money, actually.
Oh, he does, yeah. But
Yes.
what I mean, like, is he's probably already lost a lot, is what I'm saying. Like, whatever he came to
He's
the
not
table
good
with
at playing
has
poker.
already been reduced. But I think he wins or loses on poker based on personality, right? Like, it's not his ability to know to
He's
count
not a card
cards
counter. It's
or have
instinct.
strategy. It's literally his ability to read people and bluff is essentially what he.
You don't
lives and
play the
dies
game, you play the man.
But right. But I think mostly he brings Melissa to these matches specifically to set her up to win. Like,
You mean
I feel
Selena?
Sorry, no, Medusa.
Yeah. Oh,
what is
so you're
Medusa's
setting
name?
her up to win the match.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like Butch is smart enough to know when someone else is smarter than he is. So he's basically plays like a very subtle wingman to her to set her up to like all of these card games. He brings Medusa and he sets Medusa up to win. Like, he's constantly putting her in positions to it because he can read everybody at the table. So he's reading for whenever she has a good hand. He goes in a lot to draw other people in so that she takes big hands in whenever she has good
I
cards.
understand.
Does he share this tactic, or is she expected to figure out?
No. I feel like it's a known strategy between the two of them.
Okay, no worries. Yep.
So if
And
this
it's
was
not-
volleyball, you would be the setter and she would be the spiker.
Exactly. And not in like a cheating way. He doesn't have like a certain number of taps or anything like that.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
Yeah, I get it.
yeah. So
you're probably not the only NCO group that is doing this, right?
Right. No, basically he wants to concoct a situation to where he is very likable because it's a lot easier to like someone you're beating than it is someone that is beating you, so that he can establish good connections. But also the commander gets what he wants, and that Crow's Black is doing very well in these games, and we seem very competent as a unit, right? Like, it's designed in a way to accomplish multiple goals.
Okay.
And to get some fat stack of cash.
The commander never said that McGurk had to be the one winning personally, just that Crow's Black needed
Yes,
to be
just like
winning.
Crow's Black had to win. That's
Right.
correct. Anything else y'all want to do at this meeting beyond maybe get married?
I want to win
No,
it if he's trying to get.
Well, they seem to have dropped it. I mean, I'll ask Selena afterwards what that conversation was about, but I'm not going back to that conversation if they've dropped it.
They have dropped it. Let's make a roll. I will also roll for the bad guys to see who wins this poker game. Wow, what
kind of
skill
roll is
should
it?
we- Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think there's an insight skill. And now that they changed the
perception
rules,
is
the closest thing.
I'll buy perception, maybe. performance.
There's actually
also
a character in the one of the sample characters is listed as a gambler and has no skills. I mean, I suppose other than Streetwise, would probably be the closest thing I think of that might be.
Yeah,
I could buy
was gonna say
Streetwise.
Streetwise.
yeah.
Okay. Could do
I have
Streetwise.
acting.
Well, I got double sixes here, so
Okay, never mind.
I have a 15.
Jeez.
Well, please make your rolls. I'll allow acting for sure.
That's
Zoom
also has a
freeze?
15.
Oh no,
I have a 15.
Is Streetwise? Yeah,
Streetwise?
15.
Yep.
Okay.
Acting would be 16. But you said Streetwise.
Wait,
I'm
now
lost.
who's getting what? Sorry, I'm hearing a lot of different things. McGurk, you have a 15.
Correct.
Selena
I have like a 7.
and Caroline.
Well, I don't have a particular skill in this. You want me to, I'm happy to roll. For,
Yeah,
with,
just
okay.
I would roll with either intelligence or wisdom, something along those lines.
Okay.
Charisma.
No worries. Well, that would bring me to 12 then for intelligence.
All right. So, despite your attempt to play support, you somehow accidentally win enough hands that you and Song end up with the majority of the pot. Like, your aides both flow cash towards you, essentially.
I mean, you could chalk that up to just
You probably it's
not
at the
getting
end
good
of the night.
cards, right?
Probably you accidentally win like a huge hand.
Right. Well, like if she has a bad string of bad cards, right? Like
Yeah.
I got to do something. So yeah, okay, good with that.
Major Vincent Gray. I got another problem to stack up on top of you.
We're playing cards and shooting squirt guns, and Pondo's like, "Here's your list of problems."
I got 99 problems, and
Yeah.
something is not one of them. I haven't figured it out
So
yet.
you've been asked to join Taggart Reznov, aka Mozzie, who's now not technically a member of Crow's Black, but he is part of Selena Lockwood's bodyguard unit. So he has a full Leopard dropship that only has space for his Battlemech and then a full studio setup. And so he's been producing, like his show Jaguar Hunt. He's going back and like recutting it during the weeks and basically making himself look really good at killing Smoke Jaguar Battlemechs.
As you do.
Yeah, and he's got you scheduled for like a meet and greet. Like you come meet him on the Crow's Black jump ship and you shake hands and you sit down and talk about your time killing Smoke Jaguars together. But before that meeting, Lieutenant Paul Cullors, your LAM pilot, who's also your aerospace support, would like to talk to you about aerospace support.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. I have him come in.
Okay, so he comes in. He looks a little bit like a nervous wreck, but that's kind of what you'd expect from a man who straps himself into like 20 tons of shiftable metal.
Experimental object that is could explode on him any moment if something turns wrong.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good reason to be a little nervous.
Yeah.
So he sits down and he says, "Sir, I don't want to lay all of my problems at your feet, but there are some things I think only you can handle."
Okay, what's your problems?
Well, first off, the new aerospace pilots for the rest of the unit don't really seem to respect me, even though I'm their senior. I have seniority here.
Who are the other pilots? Where are the other pilots from?
Well, the Countess hired them while we were on Richmond. So she's never met them. We kind of just hired them out of sight. They were recommended to us by the Presenter Marshal of Comstar, Anastasius Vogt.
Have I met the other pilots yet, or
You can tell me whether you have or have not.
I mean, assumingly it's out in the XO, so I probably would have had to.
Yes. All right. I want you to imagine every aerospace pilot we've had on the show distilled into 5 individuals, and that's what you meet. Crazy, arrogant, explosive-based.
Oh god, I'm trying to remember what one's name was.
Master Exploder. That was his call
Master
sign.
Exploder. Yeah.
That was a long time ago. That was almost 2 years ago, Pondo.
God
Yeah,
damn.
it was. He died immediately, actually.
That's how it goes. Life as an aerospace pilot, ride or die.
Yep. How about
Allow me to
this?
restate, sir. I can deal with them being disrespectful to me, but I do not believe that they are fitting in well with the rest of the unit. I get along better
really
with
trying
the,
hard.
I get
to
along
approach-
better with the third Dracons than I do with those guys.
I think Benito's having about hardest urge to say something like,
Really
well,
shitty
give
to
him like a
aerospace
mission.
pilots. Yeah.
Give him a mission. You want to deal with him again.
Wow. Those are some good call signs, James. Their wing is the Suicide Squad.
The issue here is that you're kind of the lead officer as far as that wing goes. So if they're not,
They don't
giving
treat
you
me
their
as such,
attention-
sir. They, well, the Battlemech pilots around here treat me like I'm an aerospace pilot, and the aerospace pilots treat me like I'm a Battlemech pilot.
Well, you kind of are piloting a machine that is both. But that's actually quite impressive. I would have no idea how to operate something that can fly and use a
Well,
mech.
it's
at the same
actually
time.
quite simple, sir. Now, you don't need to have a doctorate like me in order to do it, but...
I'm guessing he goes on like a long spiel with that.
He starts talking about like the shifting control interface as it moves between aerospace and mech mode, and he's just like, I've learned some simple tips, let me help you out there. And you can tell this is going to be like a 50-minute discussion.
How about we save that discussion for later in the week?
Of course, sir. I'll get it on your schedule.
Okay. I think what we need to do is have a meeting with the rest of your wing and any other officers that you're having trouble with as far as the mech pilots go.
Well, I'm not worried about the mech officers, sir. There is another officer I've had a problem with.
Who's the officer?
It's the captain of this dropship. Melissa
Is it,
Crossroads.
Huh?
Melissa Crossroads, sir.
Prince. Got it.
Morale on the dropship is pretty low. Her crew rarely ever sees her. She spends a lot of time on other jump ships. She's really only here for duty hours and during the jumps.
Who's jump ships?
Everyone's jump ships, sir. Everyone's jump ships.
Would I know where Howler?
Howler mostly stays on the Crow's Black's jump ship, the Horus.
Okay. All right. Let's do this one at a time. Let's have a talk with your other wingman. And then I'm probably going to have a talk with Prince. Because the morale on the dropship is not a good thing. Anything else? Any other issues that you're having with people?
I would like to request a peanut butter and jelly night. If we get a curry night and a taco day, I believe that we should also have a peanut butter and jelly night, sir.
Reasonable.
This is reasonable and acceptable.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have for now.
I'll leave you in charge of the peanut butter and jelly night.
Excellent. It shall be Saturday night.
Excellent.
I'll go spread the word among the rest of the unit immediately. I look
Thank you.
forward to receiving your invitation to the aerospace wing meeting.
I will send it to you right away when I get it set up.
Yeah, so he gets up and leaves, and you can see him get on a phone immediately, and he's just like, it's on. Peanut butter and jelly night. As he starts floating away, you can hear him say, "Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly."
I think after he leaves, I'll go ahead and set up the meeting time for all the wingmen of the company. And
Okay. What do you want to say to them? So they're all mercenaries. They come from different nationalities. They don't have anything unifying about them except that they fly really big aerospace fighters, and they consider a light aerospace fighter lamb to be like a toy, not a real fighter. And so they have little respect for colors, and they aren't really fitting in with the rest of the unit super well. They're kind of inclusive and just hang out on their new dropship.
Essentially, Bandy to let them know is that despite what one person pilots the other, is that is ultimately it's up to what their experience is, and the fact that Colors is able to pilot such a thing with such complexity as both a mech and a aerospace fighter that can transform to each other is astounding. And that given the opportunity, he could excel at either or at any point in time if he needed to.
All right, I'm going to tell you this. No one at this meeting is going to tell you this, however. When you start talking about the complexity of the machine, immediately after a meeting, they all complain that they're just like, oh, look at him go on and on about how much better Colors is because he can pilot a lamb. Well, I could pilot a lamb too if I spent the rest of my nights knuckle dragging with the Mechwarriors. But they don't say that to you because that would be extremely rude and way past military protocol. But you can tell that that's the conversation that's going to happen as soon as you walk out the store. They're all like, yes, sir. What an amazing pilot. High level of technical proficiency.
Do you have issue with mech pilots?
No, sir. Mech pilots are forthright individuals with astounding capabilities for piloting machines of destruction. They're obviously honored members of this unit, just like us.
That sounds very forced out of you. I'm just gonna let you know. What is your beef with mech pilots, if I should?
Yeah, they're just going to continue giving you the formalistic runaround. You've heard things like this from McGurk before, where when someone asks him a question, they're just like, absolutely no beef, sir. Slightly sarcastic remark that can be taken in two ways or more.
How about this? Tell me exactly what your issue with Mechwarrior pilots is, and I won't have you sent to counseling times for sensitivity training.
I love that the recipient of that is now you have once been beaten down by it, but it is now your sword. You were hardened by the darkness.
Trust me, you don't want to go through the 8 hours.
Yeah, they have no answers for you, right? They give you the formal military jargon that's exactly what you would expect.
Do they actually tell me what their issue is, or
no,
they're still trying to give me the workaround?
Exactly, they give you the workaround.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate for them.
You're gonna give them sensitivity training.
Exactly.
As you leave the meeting, Lieutenant Ashram Ritter opens the door behind you and then closes it, and you can hear everyone inside go, the gasp.
Okay.
He's your lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the guy that assigns people to sensitivity training.
Okay. Did I step on some toes?
No, he's here to issue them their sensitivity training.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like good. You leave.
They were surprised.
Yes, like you leave and the specter of death enters the room. Basically.
Gotcha. All right. Excellent.
He's here to suck away all of their free time with immensely boring activities.
All right. See if they'll give in after a couple of hours. Then I guess the other thing on the plate is to figure out what's going on with Prince.
Yeah, how do you want to get to that? This spicy thing's been baking for a whole season.
Yeah, I guess I'd need to talk to Howler first. Thinking that he's still.
Oh, you think so? That's your okay. That's how you're gonna approach this. All right.
Well, Howler, I want to get both sides, but Howler's the most immediately available. The other one's going
Sure.
out partying, apparently.
All right.
I don't know
Feel
if McGurk wants to tag along.
Every single landmine that could be set off is about to go off. Maybe you want to bring Selena along.
Yeah, that's a
I like
good
the idea that you send McGurk a message saying, "Hey, do you want to come help me talk to Howler and Melissa?" And he goes, "Nope." No caps.
New phone, who dis?
Yeah, exactly.
This is your email, you idiot. All right, well, I guess this is my landmine to step on. All right.
Yeah.
McGurk wants nothing to do with command-based marriage counseling. This is why units have rules against
Fraternization.
relationships. Yeah.
Well, technically, they're not in the same chain of command, but yes, it is a problem.
But they are in the same unit.
Yes, they are, but they're mercenaries, so it's a little relaxed.
It's true. That is true. It was
We're
until
here now.
Until somebody couldn't keep it in their pants.
Okay, you shuttle over to see Howler. He is running simulations for his company. So he comes out of the mech cockpit. He's got that, Mechwarrior dad bod thing going on. Not the bad dad bod. He's got the good dad bod going on. Covered in sweat, glistening, shorts, and the cooling vest. Looking very lanky. Takes off his helmet. His hair is glorious. It's like a movie scene, and he's just like, Major, good to see you. Sorry, we just got done kicking the butts out of the 1st St. Ive Lancers, 3rd Company.
Good work. Got a moment to talk?
Yes, sir. So he comes to attention, but it's 0 gravity, so you just kind of I want you to imagine that someone comes to attention to talk to you, but then their whole body's like a plank floating in space. So
I imagine he causes himself to roll as he presses his hands back.
He keeps moving, essentially.
Yeah.
He floats past you. Sorry, sir, not used to 0 gravity. I'll get near a wall soon enough, sir, if you'll just give me a minute to grab a strap.
When you get the chance, we'll meet. Do I have an office on this dropship?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not on the dropship, it's on the actual jump ship itself.
Okay, we're on the actual jump ship at the moment.
Yes.
Not the dropship.
Well, no, you're in a dropship bay right now, but you can just, there's like a connector where you can go.
Yeah.
So you have an office on the Horus.
Gotcha.
You remember back when Crimson had the intelligence closet?
Yes.
Yes, it's basically that, but on a jump ship, so it's even smaller.
Gotcha. I don't know. It's
not a lot of free space on a jump ship.
Probably would just go into like the ready room of the dropship then.
Okay.
Essentially.
All right.
Have a private conversation.
Yeah, it's a fortress, so there's multiple ready rooms, and they're all quite nice.
Yes.
What can I do for you, sir?
In a strictly personal level, how are things going with you and your wife?
I mean, he looks at you and it's just like, is this a formal conversation, sir? This does not seem to be the kind of what I had been led as a professional environment.
We're just going to drop as a friend to another friend. This is personal. Doesn't have to be professional.
I
have been brought to attention.
I respect you, sir, but you are a superior officer, and I'm not here to discuss my marital life with you.
Well, it's been brought to my attention that Prince has not been on our dropship, but other people's dropships. which is causing morale loss with us.
Have you spoken with Melissa?
I have not yet. I was trying to see if I
So
could.
you decided to speak with me first.
You're the most readily available at the moment. I just was wondering if you had any idea about it. If you don't, I understand.
I am aware of where my wife spends her time.
Okay.
Vincent.
Okay. I got nothing. This is a weird situation.
Yes.
Is there issues between you and her that I need to be aware of?
He just reaches for a glass of water that's empty and pretends to drink it before clearing his throat and saying nothing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll leave you be as I go investigate somewhere else.
Sir, this is I feel like this conversation was highly inappropriate, sir.
Trust me, I didn't want to have this conversation if I didn't need to.
So as soon as you leave the room, we follow him, not you, and he like pulls out his phone and is just like, call Melissa into the phone, and then it goes, calling Alyssa, and he goes, no, call Melissa. Call Melissa.
The good news is the legal counsel is currently busy with something else right now, so you can't call.
I guess my next course of action is scheduling a meeting with Melissa.
Okay.
Friends.
Yeah. She shows up 5 minutes late.
That's not good.
She just kind of drifts in, and her orientation is upside down to yours, so she comes in on the ceiling and just like bounces herself down to what she would consider the ceiling and straps herself into the chair across from you and is like, what's up, Major?
Melissa, I've been hearing that you haven't been
That's Captain.
on our Captain. I hear you haven't been on our jump ship as often, but you've been on other people's jump ship.
That's correct, sir. I have been spending my time investigating other vessels. Might know this, but I hope to one day become a warship pilot. I always knew they'd be back, and now they're back.
That's good for you.
Thank you, sir.
Other people have been beginning to notice, and as a result, morale has been dropping about it.
I will do what I can to restore morale through team building exercises. If my people have the time to complain to you, I assume that if they have time to complain, they have time to train. Doesn't quite rhyme, but let's go with it. They got time to lean, they got time to clean.
I think the issue is they have too much time, and they've been cleaning and training because everybody's scheduled to do that.
I agree, sir. Training should resume at a higher level of difficulty. I would hate for my absence from this ship to be causing you problems, and I will do everything I can to ensure that such complaints no longer reach your ears.
I off the record.
Off the record.
On a personal level.
I've heard from my husband what you believe off the record and personal level means.
Okay. Then you know what question I want to ask here in a second.
Off the record, I think it would be better for you to just let me leave this room before any of us are embarrassed by anything you will say.
Sure, fine. All right, go.
A couple of minutes later, you're informed that shipboard activities are being reassigned and that a new, more stringent training schedule is going to be adhered to.
I'll make a note for Colors to, if he notices any sort of more questioning about it, to let him know about it.
Okay.
Vincent.
All right. Is there anything?
As I suspect is that she's doing that to distract them, but the issue will still remain.
That's everything you're saying is correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Okay.
I mean, okay, so I'll tell you from her point of view, basically her people are not being loyal to her, and complaints are circumventing her chain of command to reach you. So it's punishment time.
Gotcha.
Yep. And it's not like she's literally punishing anyone. She's doing that military punishment where everyone suffers because of one person's misdeeds. The whole unit is suddenly given remedial training. Everything is perfectly by the book in every single way.
Gotcha. I don't know how much authority I have over her at the moment.
It's tough. You technically you outrank her, and she technically answers to you. However, you are a resident of the ship she is the captain of, and so in certain matters she does override your authority. Right. Those matters typically relate to jump drive operations and combat, like dropship combat.
Gotcha. If the issue arises further, I think Bandito is going to commune with the commander about the situation.
Okay. I guess we'll have to see about that in the future. For the rest of you, is there anything else you all wanted to do?
I just wanted to ask, by the way, so after we leave the card game, so Medusa is going to ask Selena about what they were talking about. So
let's have that conversation. Yeah. It's in black and white too, to indicate it's a flashback.
Yeah. So what was all that back in the during the conversation that suddenly got shut down?
Oh, you remember the Mandarin cousin?
I think so. They were trying to.
They're trying to hook either you or I up to them because we're noble.
Ah, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense.
They were having a conversation, kind of arguing about whether it was appropriate or not. I thought it was polite that I should let them know that I knew what they were saying before they put their foot further in their mouth.
That must have been pretty embarrassing for them.
I hope so. I find that humorous.
So based on that, I actually am going to write a note. So we know who they are. We've got the details, right?
Yeah. Yep. First leader song of the Capellian Red Lancers.
Okay. So as long as Selena can identify which was the one whose cousin it was, I'm going to write a note saying, we're obviously.
Now, when you say write a note, do you mean a formal handwritten affair, or do you mean like an electronic mail?
Probably this is like an electronic mail to basically say that we're obviously crossing the galaxy right now to go to a battle where we have no communication with the Innisphere, but we're happy to have a conversation when we get back to the Innisphere. Like a proper formal conversation, if that's what they're interested in talking about.
Okay. You get a very long and enthusiastic reply that says almost nothing.
Okay. I've written so many of those replies in time.
Anything else?
Did you say earlier that there was a Canopian ship?
There are multiple Canopian jump ships, but the Canopian command ship is very popular right now because I am going to mispronounce this word because I've never heard it said in real life. The Cuirassiers? No one's correcting me, so I'm just going to go with that. The Canopian Cuirassiers are being led by the Magistrix's heir, so... Let me be clear. They are military jump ships, so they are not, brothels filled with space roller coasters. However, there is a sort of looseness to order and discipline there, and a less formal, more inviting atmosphere. But to remember, it is a matriarchal society, so...
I think Black Rabbit is going to spend a bunch of time over there, because I don't think she's talked to another Canopian in a while.
So you're basically treated as a celebrity when you're there. So you're the daughter of an ambassador. You're part of a story military unit where, you know, like, you were betrayed, but now you've risen from the ashes like a phoenix. People are buying this obvious lie that someone has planted in the rumor mill, that you're like some sort of undercover Canopian agent out to gather clan technology at the behest of the Lyran mercenary unit that you work for, and that after the war you're going to return home like a conquering champion. You have somehow like chained an entire, you know, like, you hired Taggart Reznov, aka Mozzie. So they're just like, everywhere she goes, she converts everyone to her following. There's a lot of simping about you on the Canopian ships. Like, all the women there are just like, how do you do it? How are you so incredible and amazing? I love your fashion style. You're seeing a lot of not cybernetic bunny ears, but like a lot of people wearing bunny ear headbands going around. And every time you visit the ship, there's more of them.
Oh, okay. Do you know what? Since I had to talk with the Russians, I'm going to take Bandito to the ship and see if we'll have a little fun.
Okay. Yeah. Just remember, it is a military jump ship, so it is...
Yeah, but it's funner than the other military jump ships.
I agree that it is definitely the funnest of all jump ships. Bandito, do you go with Selena?
I guess so. Strictly not knowing what the back reason.
I understand.
Not the full reason of going.
Have you ever had the experience of being a trophy husband?
No, I can't say I have.
So when you arrive, everyone is paying attention to Selena, and some people are coming over and asking you how amazing Selena is, and who are you to be accompanying her? Now, I mean, I don't know if she or you are in uniform, but obviously you meteorically outrank her. But she's being treated as if she is higher in social standing than you aboard this jump ship.
I mean, Bandito probably has his fatigues on because the situation we're in.
Yeah, so, like, someone wearing military credential journalist tags from Comstar, like, floats over to you and is like, sir, can I ask what your name is? And he's like floating beside you. He's got like a little hovering drone that's recording you, and it's also got incredibly bright lights. You know, the kind of where if you look at them, you go blind.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. Exactly.
Don't look at the camera. Look at me, sir. What was your name?
Okay. Major Vincent Gray.
Major Vincent Gray of what unit?
I am the XO of the Crow's Black unit.
Incredible. Crow's Black, and you're escorting Ambassador Selena Lockwood tonight. Can I ask, how were you so lucky to be chosen by her? You're the first man we've seen in her presence. Are you dating?
No.
So then he holds his microphone down and says, off the record, are you dating? But then he lets the microphone up a little bit when he thinks you're not looking.
No.
He never turns the camera off when he says off the record either.
Of course not.
I understand. If you were to say one thing about how amazing Selena Lockwood is, what would you say?
She's a fantastic artist.
Incredible. That is what they think of people at Crow's Back, fantastic artist. She is, he like turns toward the camera, among her own people, she's an ambassador, but among the brutish mercenaries of Crow Black, she is one of them. She is treated as an equal. How interesting, how fascinating, incredible, truly incredible. That's all for my interview with Major Vincent Gray of Crow's Black. I'll be back at 12. And then the camera's like, shuts off. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the dropship area that are paying attention to the two of you.
Black Rabbit, why'd you bring me here?
So you could have a little fun, but it's like really mild fun, so I think it's your thing.
Not sure to be complimented or insulted.
Is there any games and stuff they have on the ship?
Yes, they do have some casual assortments of things like that. However, you probably like slot machines and such that in like a off-duty area, something like dice games and such in like a grab deck. But once you get into playing and people are following all of you around everywhere, like if you go to the craps table suddenly has like 100 off-duty personnel around it, all waiting for Selena to get the dice so she can make the bets. At some point, you are physically separated from Selena by women wearing black suit coats and black sunglasses. The typical, bodyguard look. They kind of surreptitiously appear out of nowhere and separate you. And someone floats up behind you, Vincent, and says, "Major Gray, I was hoping to speak with you."
Yes, and who, may I ask, you are?
You don't know who I am?
Do I see this person, or is she still behind me?
No, you turn to see her. It's the heir to the magistracy.
Oh.
Madame Centrella, I suppose we would say.
Apologies, Madame Centrella.
Danai Centrella.
You kind of snuck up on me. Apologies.
Please, Major. We are of equivalent rank. Can I call you Vincent?
Yes.
You're the first gentleman I've seen being escorted by my aide, Selena, and I was hoping to speak with you privately about your prospects.
Okay.
If you'll come with me, my people will escort you.
Of course. Like back, it's pretty much Bandito's like paranoia instincts are kind of kicking in a little bit.
They should be.
As a bunch of people, essentially people in black suits, came out to single them out individually.
I want you to imagine that someone that is like Selena's mom has showed up and is basically checking in to see if you're a good boyfriend.
Yeah.
Except she could kill you.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I think this is a good place to end. We'll be back next week, with Glimo and maybe Eric Vulgaris as we begin the drop on Huntress. And what will be the final battle of Season 4. One thing I want to note for the folks at home is that today is the day where apparently Epic Games, Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, and Riot Games have 45 days left of operating in the United States before they are banned. And that's pretty big because those are 4 huge companies.
It's just the apps.
It prohibits transactions with Tencent.
Yes, but it was also clarified it was just the apps like
All right.
TikTok.
Well, I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. TikTok is not the same thing as Tencent.
They're owned under it.
All right.
I was looking into the tweets as well, and that's what I've been seeing. But if it's the other case, then yeah.
Bandito 1v5? I don't know.
I don't know.
Bandito's been okay in personal combat. I wouldn't say he's the greatest.
I fought a guy that was specialized in it and lived somehow, so that's a plus. But these guys are probably also trained in it, so
they also have guns, which gives them a pretty big edge over you.
Did they take my guns?
No,
okay.
But they have more guns than you.
This is also true.
The thing about bullets is that the more of them there are, the worse off things are for you. Let's have everybody take 4 experience points for surviving your deep space journey. And I managed to do a really good job of, just like Melissa, avoiding responsibility for anything and continuously avoiding anyone getting in my business.
It's about to be my business, I fear.
Yeah, it is.
All she has to do is say, "That's none of your business."
Yeah, that's work
And
for
everybody's
her.
like, "Oh, well, okay."
I want to point out.
She's got a howler saying it for her too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's
I shouldn't be
issue.
laughing, but this way of acting has worked for her in every season until now, and it seems to still be working up till now.
Well, she's got a chance. She's about to ruin that chance, I fear, but...
You know, speaking of holler, let's speak to James. I don't know where I was going with that. James, let's talk to you.
I had a good time tonight. Someone mentioned before that's the PBJ now sounds like something out of the HBS game. We should have just grabbed a whole bunch of those random dropship scenes.
Oh, that's
from
true.
Battletech and dropped them in there. You know, we had the zero gravity pool almost. That was one of them. You know, someone cheating a card game. I'm sure that was also one of them as well. So we sort of did tap on a few of those. But I think it's a lot of fun to have these sort of exposition character building sessions as well. So I had a good time tonight. I'll be back again on Saturday night for Rogue Trader. And that's probably it for me. I think I have nothing else to really throw in there.
Brad, what do you got?
I got nothing. I had a good time tonight. Looking forward to doing the big battle business. Other than that, I don't know. I'm not being very verbose tonight. So yeah, I had fun. That's it.
Pondo, what do you got?
I am Ponder, or Pondothemad. You can catch me on YouTube for Twitch/Pondothemad, or you can find me here Saturday nights with APGamingREAL and Henley with Rogue Trader, or Sunday nights on my own channel playing Hunters of Alvern, which Cotton is also on. That is on my own channel at twitch.tv/Pondothemad at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's about it. I being put in situations where really only situation I have a problem with is just having to deal with the personal crap, in which case it could be like show them both in the locked area and like fix it.
That's
Then
not standard military protocol. It certainly would work for Crow's Black, though.
Yes.
But especially if you pulled a tear gas grenade before you close that door.
I want to put them in the unventilated place where the ventilation is broken.
They fixed that ventilation. That was a whole season and a half ago. I really like this water sniper black rabbit, by the way. It's excellent. And now I notice you've colored it.
Yep, I colored it right after I sent it to you.
Perfect.
So you got a sort of a Vanellope vibe going on there.
Oh, from Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph, yeah.
Yeah.
See it.
Cotton.
That's it. From now on, for me, Black Rabbit has Sarah Silverman's voice.
Wow. That's
Probably not right.
Sarah Silverman's childish voice too, not the one she uses in movies where she's horribly drunk all the time. Or her comedic stand-up. Cotton, what do you got?
I'm Cotton, like doodling stuff. You can find me on AP's Tuesday night show on the tabletop. It's Thursday show, obviously, and Pondothemad Sunday night Gestalt show Hunters of Alvern. That's all I got.
Okay. I'm Arthur Perkins. I need to check in with Eric Vulgaris and see if he can join us or not. I think he probably almost certainly won't be, because that's why we were going to extend outwardly, was to make sure Eric had time to get in. So it will almost certainly just be Gleemo. I'm sorry I can't get more guest stars for you, audience at home. You will get the...
going to arrive later on.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But the problem is I don't want someone to arrive and then not show up for a later episode. Because I don't want to kill their character, but being like, all right, well, I'm used to clan tactics for 2 whole seasons, so I charge forward into melee range and I alpha strike over and over again.
Just do a really big map, so like the first 2 sessions are just movement phases. And that's fun.
Oh, we should absolutely right now. Sorry, while we're talking, we should load the map to make sure that Cotton can actually load the map, because the map is super huge.
Hey, can I ask as well, though? My internet got changed during the week, and I now have 5 times the upload that I had previously. Has my quality been the same, different, better, worse, whatever?
I mean, I think it's the same. I don't think it's gotten any worse.
It'll seem the same for us because that's just how communications over the internet works. No matter what equipment you have, you'll still sound probably about roughly the same.
So, folks at home, if Cotton's camera freezes, it's because I just crashed her computer. We're gonna hang up our call now because we're done. But apparently, Critical Role had some sort of major event happen where they're dominating Twitter right now. So I guess something really big happened, which is pretty normal for Critical Role.
I thought they weren't having a live show. I thought it was all pre-recorded.
Oh,
Did they release it?
Yeah, they release it at the same time as normal.
Oh, they release it on Twitch?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it still doesn't show up on YouTube for like a few days, right?
Yeah, it doesn't show up until Monday.
That's fine.
But they recorded it on like Monday or Tuesday.
I don't do Twitter, so nothing will be spoiled for me. I'll be fine.
Perfect. Now I know I can shit talk you on Twitter.
Either.
You absolutely can. I don't go to Twitter. I don't click on Twitter links. I don't have anything to do with Twitter.
That's it, guys. We'll be back next week, probably. Have a good night.
Fuck you, Twitter and Connor Hughes.
Wow. Why the last second anti-Connor Hughes? I don't understand.
I hadn't said anything negative about him for a while. I got to keep the rivalry going.
Okay.